All right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and whatever else might be lurking out there in the darkness. Welcome back to a brand new post Thanksgiving episode of the Pink Buzz. We are now officially on Pink Friday. It is not black, it is not brown, it is pink from now on. And joining us this wonderful episode, we have a up and coming master of the comic form. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience, Mr. Rowe?
Thanks for the warm welcome, Johnny. Hi, everyone. I am Matt Rowe. You might know me from the phenomenally successful Kickstarter called The Dieback. I also run a monthly newsletter on mattroweart.com, and you can find me just around the web doing all sorts of stuff.
True that, true that. And also joining us this wonderful evening, she needs no introduction, but I'm going to let her go ahead and give herself one anyways.
Oh man, I'd rather you introduce me.
It's Elle, the box wine drinking Taco Bell hound.
Yes, it is I.
Yeah.
Box wine and Taco Bell. It doesn't get any more classy.
No.
I really try.
That's
Well,
actually
I'm
the
sure-
Canadian Thanksgiving
Is
feast.
it?
Yeah, it's
I'm
Taco
sure.
Bell and box wine.
I'm sure Cookie will give that her seal of approval. Taco Bell with some box wine.
Oh yeah, dude. Irene, she really seems to like her Taco Bell. Oh,
She
look
does.
it's your buddy in the chat, Elle.
Oh, I only claim him on Sundays, so.
Oh, it's okay. He's watching us from the toilet anyways. This is a very
Okay.
Canadian episode.
Is that also a part of Canadian Thanksgiving?
Oh, that,
It depends what you have for supper, I guess.
but Joe, what do we got on the table for the folks tonight, man? What are we covering on this very
Well-
special 27th episode?
Well, tonight we'll be discussing Kickstarters and crowdfunding in general, and we have Matt as a guest because he just finished up his Kickstarter for The Eternal Dieback, and we'll be discussing Matt's books a little bit as well.
Right, right. And I love this topic because, I mean, as a lot of people know me, I've really dove head first into the whole Kickstarter economy and community, and I really love it. I really appreciate it. But I also like that we left this conversation open that we're going to talk about cons and we're going to talk about how some people, mostly big names or big studios, kind of step in and do pump and dump schemes and don't hold up to the ethics of the community and the economy of the site. And I love that Matt's here because he has an inside look. And I got to ask, were you a backer on Kickstarter before you started doing your own campaigns, Matt?
Absolutely. That was one of the first things that I did was go and back multiple campaigns. I've always been a student of the game. Any game I'm playing. The first way to learn about said game, whether it be making comics or making a Kickstarter, is see how other people do it, right?
So you kind of went in with some knowledge of kind of how you saw other people create their campaigns, especially the more popular ones, the ones that get a lot of the fan love, because there just is something about certain creators where they just know how to engage with their audience on the site, and it's really beautiful when you see it. It's really awe-inspiring. It's kind of what I wish a lot more comic creation was like, and your campaign was a lot like that. That's why I was really happy to be a part of the Dieback campaign, and was really thrilled when you asked to join the Discord and wanted to be on the show. I mean, so thank you very much for being here and
No,
being rad.
thank you, man. Thank all of you because I'm pretty sure you're all backers on the Dieback campaign and or Nightmare Man. And yeah, like you said earlier, Kickstarter it's an economy, right? And you need to treat it as such. And that sounds like a very business way to say it, and it's probably not something that a lot of people would like to hear. But whether you've got 10 backers, 50 backers, 2,000 backers, these people are giving you your cold hard cash for what you're making. And from the get-go, I wanted to make sure that anything that I produce on there, it's going to be a high quality product from the page itself. I just, you can tell a book from its cover, right? You do, whether we do it on purpose or we don't. You can tell that sort of thing.
Uh, Nightmare Man was kickstarted as well, and you did that book with another person. How involved were you with that Kickstarter as opposed to like Eternal Dieback? That's your baby. You did everything. But with Nightmare Man, you had how involved were you? Were you like partners 50-50, or like how did that Kickstarter work?
Honestly, I probably 30-70. I don't know. Matt Wilding, he's the writer on
Yeah.
Nightmare Man, and I have to tip my hat to him. He is a phenomenal collaborator and writer. He took a lot of time and energy and put it into the campaign. And again, it was kind of like watch and see how it's done, and then do it yourself and upgrade as you go, get better as you go. And it's just that sort of thing. So definitely, I just call him Wilding. Wilding was pivotal in that being a success for sure.
Mm-hmm. So it must have helped you out quite a bit when you decided to do your own.
Yeah. We got some of the backers on there. They accepted the email list, of course. So that was another big thing that I'm sure anyone watching right now has learned is, develop your email list. You're going to want to curate that every month at least. I know Declan Shelby, he does his, I think, weekly. A lot of other big names in the industry do them bi-weekly. Right now, I can only keep up with once a month, but I found that helped so much when I launched Dieback. I was doing the newsletter from Nightmare Man, and I think we did that Kickstarter in fall of 2020, maybe.
Okay.
So then that shipped towards whenever it shipped, and then I used those emails and other emails, and I developed a newsletter, and I did that for months, 6-7 months before I even started working on Dieback. And that was probably second because Kickstarter tells you all the like analytics of where people come from and how you get the clicks and the clicks that go through and actually turn into backers. And yeah, I think my email list was second on there. So I had a lot of really supportive people from my email list.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really great system because it really helps you know that somebody that you know that was involved in a campaign that you may have liked has something new out, whether it's not the writer or the artist. I like that idea of it because, like, I'll get them sometimes and it'll be like, okay, it's not the guy who wrote Long Pig, but it's the guy who drew it. And he's got a new one out and it's only $8, so hop on it right now. And it's really cool to have those email lists. I don't really remember signing up for them, but like, I don't mind them. You know what I mean? Because I love Kickstarter, and there is just so much just exciting new things on there every time I click on, and it's really neat to have them so integrated into letting you know that, like, hey, the ones that you know about are just the tip of the iceberg. Keep looking.
Yeah, like you mentioned right there, exactly. It's given the creator freedom, whether the creator be a writer or an artist or whatever else you're making there. It's cut out a lot of the hassle of going through a publisher and having your vision edited and revised and mushed and turned and broken into something that you didn't really want to make in the first place, or all the hoops you had to jump through just to get it to publication and the marketing things. You can just do it yourself and you take ownership in that, and it's exactly what you wanted to make. And the freedom in that is so important, I think, these days.
I think your post Kickstarter promotions too really helped because I didn't hear about Nightmare Man until I had never backed a Kickstarter before. I didn't hear about it until after, but Wilding was like still tweeting about it. I was still seeing posts about it, and I was like, what is this? And I'm really hesitant to reach out to people on social media. I don't like messaging people unasked, but I was like, how can I get this? I already know it's over. and like Gumroad, I was able to get it via Gumroad, and I think sometimes like it could feel like it's like oh, like it's an exclusive club, you can't get in, it's too late. And so I
Yeah.
really appreciated that my first like dive into Kickstarter or even that realm was with your team, because it made me be like, oh, let me make sure I back this, and like I have backed like 25 things this year, because it was like, oh, like the work is quality. Like Nightmare Man is one
And
of my favorite things, and so
you,
I'm like, I don't mind.
and you know what, Elle? That's something I love about Wilding. That's one of the reasons I continue to choose to work with him, is because he's goddamn relentless. Can I swear on this thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say
Okay,
whatever
cool.
you want.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
fucking relentless, and I love it. I get so many writers DMing me, emailing me, messaging me, hey, you want to work together? Hey, I got this thing. It's like, okay, well, do you have a script? No, I don't have a script. Okay, well, get a script together, get a pitch together, get something together. Like, there's no reason you should contact an artist any differently than you should contact a publisher. You should be ready for that. And then on top of that, you need to hustle. And that's something I think a lot of younger creators don't realize is the promotion aspect of comics. It's just like wrestling, in my opinion. You need to be out there screaming in the mic every bloody night. Hey, pick up my comic. Hey, pick up this. Hey, pick up that. And even when the Kickstarter is done, just like Elle said, is it still possible to get more fans and readers? Like I remember Elle in particular, after the Kickstarter was done, and she picked up the comic, and she must have made a tweet or something about it, because I remember her icon
Oh
there,
yeah, I was
her picture,
harassing. Yeah, I loved it
and
so much.
I sat back looking at my phone. And I'm like, you know what? We fucking have something here. We do,
Mhm.
and it is. You just keep screaming in that mic, and one day, someone's gonna come along, and they're gonna pay you enough, or you're gonna pay yourself enough to be able to continue to do that.
Yeah, I heard about your book afterwards too, through someone posted it on Twitter, Jen and something. She works at Yancey Comics in Florida, and she was like,
Oh, yeah.
this is one of my, I love this read this week. And I was like, oh, what is it? I thought the cover looked cool. So I started looking into it. I was like, oh, shit. Dude, Matt's from Canada. So I was like, shit. So then I went on, I Googled it, and I saw the gum. It just snowballed from there. And, so I ordered it through the Gumroad as well. So yeah,
we had so many amazing reviews and commenters and readers just saying such kind things about our first book out the gate on Kickstarter. I'm so glad that was a success. I think it was really pivotal in making Dieback the success that it was or is.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
So Johnny,
I mean, yeah.
on average, Johnny, how many Kickstarters do you back in a year? I'm really curious to know that number.
I've only been doing it since about around September of last year, and I got 128.
Jeez.
So you're just over a year. You do about 100 a year then.
Jeez.
So far, dude, like I said, I can't help it. I go on, and it's just so amazing. And another thing is a lot of my favorite creators, a lot of I can call them buddies. I know I don't know them personally, but people like Jordan Thomas, people like Dave Cook, people like David Papuz, they always have something on there. They're always working, and they're always like, hey, like that money that you like to throw at me, I have something you can throw it at, and I can't say no. You know what I mean? It's just everything that they do looks so clever. I mean, I'm not going to say that I jump at everything that pops onto Kickstarter, because a lot of it does look kind of webtoony, but even some of that really catches my eye, and I'm like, ooh, if only you were like $3 cheaper, I'd have got you.
Yeah. Price point is important because especially like Matt knows, like I do, and we live in Canada, so the shipping can become quite daunting. So price point, especially when you're thinking of overseas shipping and stuff, the price point factors in big time because when you start paying $20 for a single issue, you want to make sure you're going to enjoy that thing. And like Matt says, like he wants to make sure he's given a quality product because he knows, you're not buying it from a shop, so the shop isn't absorbing all the shipping costs, right? Like when you buy it from your LCS, they're ordering large numbers of stuff, so the shipping is pretty much subsidized through Diamond or whatever. So you don't pay that upfront cost for the shipping as you would through Kickstarter, and it becomes the price point becomes an incredibly important factor when.
I look at it like this: I've got one shot to sell you on my work.
Mhm.
And if I send out a book that you backed on my Kickstarter and you get it and it's all bent up, maybe the print quality sucks, the sticker is ripped, the bookmark is like faded, you're not coming back. And I'm young, I'm 25 years old, I'm looking to do this for my life. So I want you to continue to follow my stories and enjoy them. Not only that, like I want you to enjoy the thing. Like everyone knows like the difference between, oh, like I'm glad it made it here, and oh wow, look at this, you know.
For sure, yeah.
Well, another thing I love about it is it's a multi national thing.
Mm.
And to tell you the truth, most of the Kickstarters I've backed and I've loved the most have been from like the UK, Australia.
Mhm.
I've
Yeah.
I backed a few from Poland. That yeah, I paid as much. I paid $5 more for the shipping than I did for the actual book that I got from Poland, and it was a hardcover. So, but
But that
it was worth
Australian
it to me. You know
shipping,
what I mean? It
ugh.
was. It was. What's up?
That Australian shipping. Sometimes I'm
Oh,
like, digital.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
right.
am not spending $26 for
Yeah,
shipping.
that's where I find
unfortunate.
PDF, like the digital
Yeah.
tiers, are extremely important.
Oh,
I've
I
been
back so
backing.
many digitals
Yeah,
just because it's like I can't like just to be fiscally responsible. I
yeah,
want
exactly.
to read the story, but I cannot like, in my conscience pay that much for shipping.
Half of my backers were digital.
Really?
Really. Yeah.
See, I don't mind paying Canadian shipping. You know, I get my books
Yeah,
from
that's something I'm trying to. I want to be able to sell that to all the Americans too. It's like you
yeah,
guys are
I
getting
don't
that
mind.
that dollar discount there, and it's like, oh
Yeah,
man, like how do I say that without sounding like a douchebag?
No, because I get my regular books from, I get them from Sergio. And so I
Okay.
pay Canadian shipping. I don't mind.
Hmm.
It's when I'm paying, or backer kit. I'm not a big fan of backer kit. I don't like
No.
not knowing how much I'm gonna pay, and then all of
Hmm.
a sudden I get an invoice like,
yeah.
"Hey, you forgot about us." I'm like, "No, I didn't know you were a thing.
Hmm.
well, the
I
problem
thought
is
I
like,
paid."
yeah, and they send it like 6 months after you bought the book, so you think that
Yeah,
like you got this thing coming, and the next thing you know, they're like, nope, you got $25, or you're not getting
That's
your damn
shipping.
thing, and
right.
you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I
you rat
looking
bastard,
at you, magnetic press.
straight
I
up.
backed a book. I backed a book a year or two ago, and yeah, like Johnny said, a few months later, here's your shipping from Backer Kit. This is how much it'll be. It was almost double what I paid for the book,
Oh.
and it was already an expensive book. And
Mhm.
no, right then and there, I'm like, I'll never do this. A lot of artists and writers out there, you're in art or writing because you didn't want to go into math or another career. But
Yeah.
honestly, take the time, do the math, weigh
Figure
out
out the shipping.
figure out the shipping, triple
Yeah,
check it.
I
Yeah,
appreciate when the shipping's included
yeah.
Mhm.
with a Kickstarter price, because just this week I had to pay $12 for Ed Brisson's Kickstarter. So I got the
Well, that's
backer kit
Which
or
one was that?
whatever,
my
and
main con towards Kickstarter, man, is like
yeah,
the campaigns that don't have shipping included when you buy the damn thing.
Hmm.
I will gladly back if it's included. Like I honestly,
yeah,
if even if it's expensive, if I see it ahead of time, I'm okay with it because you're
Yep,
being transparent. And
yeah.
I know
There's
right
no,
now.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's no surprise. Up front,
yep.
it's like,
Hmm.
whoa,
No one
25 for
likes a
shipping.
surprise bill.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So,
It's no good.
and I don't know, Kickstarter's pretty goddamn big now.
Yeah.
I
Could
feel
there
like
not
it's
be a
boomed.
could there
Yeah.
yeah, could there not be a way that Kickstarter makes a deal with, let's say, UPS or someone to offer discounted shipping rates for creators that come on and use their service? Couldn't they make a deal somehow to to have more competitive prices, seeing as how
Right.
like everything is shipped through
Hmm.
Hmm.
Kickstarter? Nothing, like there's a few that I do that here in Montreal. Sometimes they'll offer a local pickup. You can go to like a comic shop and pick up your book there. Sometimes they offer local pickup, but like 98% of the time it's shipped. And so, man, there's a lot of money getting pumped through Kickstarter through shipping costs and stuff. And you'd
Hmm.
think with how many people go through Kickstarter, they should have enough clout that they could be like, hey, UPS, Purelator, whatever, let's make a deal. All our guys are going to go exclusively through you, but you have to
Hmm.
give us a slightly discounted price. And then it'll just bring the cost of all this down for all the fans that want to back these books. And I think you'd get a lot more people. You would make, as a creator, make more money because more people would be interested because it would be at a discounted price and a better price point.
Joe, everyone in that situation would make more money.
Mhm.
You would get more backers, so you'd make more money. Kickstarter would make more money because you're getting more backers. That shipping company would make more money because they're getting more product to ship. It's a win-win-win. And again, why aren't they doing it? I don't
And
know.
I don't know.
they could set up a thing for the creators, kind of like how they have a super backer. You could become a super creator, and you get probably better deals the more you create through them and stuff like that. And like, yeah, just kind of make little caveats for everybody, so it ends up the more you make, the better it is for everybody. And yeah, they're just probably never going to do it because Substack exists.
And especially now with the Indiegogo kind of changing up their policies on how they're crowdfunding, they might be challenging Kickstarter soon if they start actually monitoring what creators come on and what kind of projects they back. They might start stealing a bit of the chunk of the pie from Kickstarter. So maybe Kickstarter would have an extra incentive to try to offer something a little more.
Yeah.
It'll take them a while to shake that stigma from their name, though, man. I know a lot of people that won't go near them until they know that there are certain names that aren't going to be involved with it.
They released it. They did a press release this week that they're going to start to be much more proactive on trying to like make sure that the projects that are backed through Indiegogo are held to a certain standard and criteria.
Because, like Johnny said, the stigma that they do carry with all that. Hey, I won't go. I won't go there. But as far as business wise goes, I think I was looking at some numbers, and I think they were a bit better for business wise. But again, the stigma, I can't go there right now. Right?
Yeah,
I won't.
Even if like the online mailers like pirate shippers, I think 80% of my Kickstarters have been shipped via like pirate ship mailers or stickers. Even if they teamed up with like Kickstarter or something, like it's free promotion that's being lost on all, like you were saying, on all accords.
And give Diamond a little bit of a run for their money. They've had an easy shake too much. Plus, they're already like one of the demons of Kickstarter because I've seen so many people, especially the big name ones, when they pull their pump and dumps and somehow magically their books end up on store shelves before the backers get them. Oh, Diamond screwed us over. So you could basically blame the Chicago fire on Diamond, and the fans will believe it. So yeah, like at this point, like you just give them an opponent too that runs with you, and yeah.
To this day, what is it now? Since I've backed in my first New Rebellum book, which is Magnetic Press, there's been 4. All 4 made it to my LCS before the backers got theirs. And my LCS did not back the retailer tier. They just ordered it straight through Diamond. So
Safe Sex Volume 2 is supposed to drop on Wednesday in comic shops, and that's Image. And I was waiting for the Kickstarter team to be like, hey, here's an update on when you guys are gonna get yours since you backed it. And basically the message was like, yeah, we don't know when you guys are going to get them. It's out of our hands. And I'm like,
yeah,
I went on like mountaintops to scream about this. And I feel like,
did they blame Diamond?
They let you down big time.
They kind of just didn't have accountability. They had accountability, but not like in a way, like it's Image Comics. So I'm like, I felt a little bit better about it since it wasn't, Magnetic. But I'm like, y'all doing the same thing. So, and it's unfortunate because I'm like, even if I don't get all the extras that was promised on time, like I really expected to be able to read this before it was on stands or at the same time. And so I'm like, I could have just picked this up, from the comic shop.
At the very least, they should have gotten in front of that. That's...
Yeah. And they waited and I love the creative team on Safe. Like I adore everybody on that team, but I'm like that you guys dropped the ball on that. You waited way too late. Like I already saw it in the not previews, but like you guys are advertising it being in local shops before you even address the Kickstarter people.
Yeah. Well, it feels like a cash grab for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it makes you think that they had no intention of ever doing it any other way. They just saw it as a way that they could get their book funded faster and have it in stores faster, and then just give you guys the sorry about you, bro, without even understanding that there's a community to Kickstarter. Like, if a
Mhm.
guy's book is late, usually you have 10 updates of them explaining to you their mental health problems at the time, exactly what's gone wrong in the supply
Mhm.
chain issues, how many times their cat's gotten COVID. You get all of it.
Mhm.
Well, see, that's what bothers me about that sort of thing is that people, fans, readers, they're so forgiving, and for you to just blatantly
Yes.
go out of your way to do that, no, it's not. It's a bad look, in my opinion.
But I've
Um,
also been
It's
surprised by some where I didn't expect it for months, and then
mhm.
check my box and it's there like a month later or a couple weeks. I think Jonathan Hedrick, I've never gotten a book by him like more than a month after the Kickstarter is over. And I'm just like, how?
Yeah,
Nice.
he prints them himself or something. That's the same thing
Tell
I
them.
with Aaron Reese, because like when I bought Black Blizzard, I thought it was going to be your typical Kickstarter book. I'd have to wait at least a month for it. Nope. 5 days after I got my PDF, which was 3 days after the campaign ended,
Mhm.
my
yeah.
physical
See,
copy was at my house. I was just like,
Mhm.
what? You didn't even get paid yet, dude. The money didn't clear. Like, wow.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think
Like
Joe Cabello is another one who I found his project after the Kickstarter was over. Hit him up on Gumroad, and like not only did he send the books, but he sent a bunch of stickers and pins. Like, it's all about making connections with people when and so it's unfortunate that some people don't take advantage of that, because you should, like, it's word of mouth when you're using Kickstarter, in my opinion.
yeah.
Mhm.
See, I was talking with Troy Little. He's a comic creator. He wrote, I mean, he drew on the Dungeons and Dragons, Rick and Morty versus Dungeons and Dragons, and he's from PI. So I met him when I went and visited my mom, and like I chat with him every now and then. Like he said, he's like, we never even start our Kickstarter till our book is done. So
Mm.
basically, their book is finished. They do their Kickstarter, they get their funding, and they send it to the printer. So within a month, you get your book. Pretty close to a month after the Kickstarter is over. And he says that's the way we do it every time. Him and his wife, they're like a team. They both make comics, and that's how they roll, man. They make sure their book is complete, like ready to go to the printers. They do their campaign, boom, funded. It's ready. It's sometimes if it looks like it's going to get funded, like, or if it's funded like and there's still 20 days left, they'll ship it off to the printers because they know that like in 20 days it's done, the money gets transferred from Kickstarter, they pay the printers, and they
Mhm.
ship it out as quick as possible,
Especially
which
if you
is
overfund too. You know what I mean? If you just scrape by, I can understand waiting to get paid to
mhm.
send it to the shippers. But like if
Mhm.
you have like one of those books, like my buddy Richard Morgan, like his Kickstarter is like 300 and something% funded. Like I could understand, like, yeah, having that baby at the printer already. You know what I mean?
That was my biggest lesson of Dieback is complete it fully before
Before,
you do the
yeah,
Kickstarter, because I had it drawn before I did the Kickstarter, and the
okay,
first few pages completed and the cover and all that jazz for the thing.
the
But then I
campaign,
still
yeah.
for the campaign, thank you.
Yeah.
Then I still had to color a bunch of it and letter a bunch of it, and I wanted to do the backup story, Kin Phantom, to include. And I expected to be able to work on that during the campaign. Is my first one doing it alone, right? So I'm like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, there was plenty of time. There's plenty of time to do some work. No, I spent every single day promoting Dieback, and it
hustling.
paid.
You got to hustle it, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to push it.
It paid off, but then end of the campaign comes, and I'm like, well, guess I better get moving on this.
But
And
there's
Yeah.
some I've backed where because I was under the presumption that, like, oh, most people just common sense, not a deep dive. But I was like,
Mhm.
oh, they wouldn't start a Kickstarter unless they were kind of almost done, right?
yeah,
And so a couple projects that I'm even waiting for now, they're like, oh, we just turned in the final page of, you know, chapter 3, and I'm like, what do
what?
you mean you just turned that? I
Oh
think
man, no.
There's one that's been a long time. My first ever Kickstarter. I think they just sent it to the printers. The first one I ever backed, and I think you can take a guess which one that is.
Was it Ghost Band?
No, no.
Okay.
I got
Well,
the,
because at
I
least
got,
Ghost Band, like they did it as like you get the digital issues as it comes
yeah,
out, and then you get the graphic novel once that
yeah,
it's
yeah. I've got.
finished.
That's fine. He sent me the PDFs and stuff. I'm talking about the Cosmic Detective book.
Oh God,
Mm,
yeah.
really? Okay, yeah. I wanted to go into that one. Didn't have funds at the time. Missed it.
But but
And
that's
yeah.
that's the whole reason I got started on Kickstarter was because of the pandemic, right? Because
Yeah.
shops weren't really selling new stuff. So I was like, everyone on Kickstarter is like, oh, you can still get books. So I was like, I'll check it out. So I was like, oh shit, Matt Kent and Jeff Lemire decided to do a
Yep.
Kickstarter
And
because
Dave
they weren't
Rubin.
sure.
And that's
Yeah,
not out
yeah.
yet. You've
And
not
I was
received
like,
it?
I love all three of those guys. Well, Ruben just finished the pages like last month. Last
Jeez.
month he just finished the
Pandemic's
final
over.
page. Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a book that you know you're gonna find in shops, no problem. Like I didn't
Yeah.
understand like back in the
well,
Kickstarter,
yeah,
especially I had a really bad experience with a book called Mandy by Alex DeCampi and Alex or what's his name, Duncan Jones, not Alex Jones, different Jones, but yeah. Uh, and so I was really not gonna back any big names as much as I love Jeff and Matt and. I'm really happy I didn't back Cosmic Detective, and I'm just waiting to get it at the LCS because I know I'm gonna
Hearing that
find it when
now,
it comes
yeah.
out.
well,
That's why I didn't back Berserker. The
no, I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
either.
no, I
Fuck
didn't
that.
either.
it's
I
gonna
It's
be
knew
in
one
it.
of
stores.
I saw it in the Diamond previews before it was even announced on Kickstarter. I was like, what
Yeah.
the hell is this? This was my first instance of where I was like, wait a minute. They know it's getting made because it's in the Diamonds.
Now
Mhm.
So
with
you,
Berserker, I don't have a problem with them putting it on Kickstarter because I think they were pretty transparent on
Yeah.
their Kickstarter of what it was. I did see a lot of blowback about people complaining about it and saying that they were misled. But from what I remember reading, like it was pretty clear, like, no, this is like if you want to. Like we're not forcing you. This is
yeah,
gonna be released. This is how it's
yeah,
gonna be released.
yeah, yeah,
And so that was the first time where I saw something where I was like, y'all just don't read. Like read it. It's not for
yeah.
me. I'm not going to back it. But
Mm.
that's not to say there's not like a mega fan or somebody who wants like this, bonus content or, page or
Mhm.
cover. It's not for me, but I'm like they were very. I felt like that was one where I was like
Well,
they kind of made it seem like it was misleading, but I thought it was pretty
well, with
transparent.
Berserker, every single version that they had on the Kickstarter was a special version that you could only get through there, even the
Yeah.
regular trades
Not,
that you bought through it, right?
Yeah,
I think Noctera was the same idea as
yeah,
Berserker.
Noctera, yeah.
I think they were pretty transparent about it was going to be an image book and this
But
and
they
that.
were
I don't.
pretty positive about Noctera from what I remember at the time, and I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know if they just don't like Matt Kint or Keanu, but they were. I felt like people were really going in
Well, the
on.
thing about Noctera was it was for the first issue, but the actual campaign itself was for the art production book that came with it. It was leather bound.
Okay,
So
okay.
like it was
Yeah.
actually like a prestige thing that they were putting out that you could only get through the Kickstarter, and you'd also supposedly get issue 1 before it came out, and I don't think that actually happened. I think it came out at about the same time.
See,
Backers got it.
now I've been funding stuff on Kickstarter for about since the beginning of the pandemic. So it's almost 2 years now. And now I've done some big names. And now I've come to I have my method. I'll back smaller creators, like guys like
Mhm.
Matt, like guys like Lemire, Schneider, all these guys, their books are going to be released eventually through Amazon, Indigo, comic shops. You're going to be able to find it anywhere. So I stay away from these guys because you know what? Their books are coming out anyway. And I
Mhm.
try to save my money, my budget for Kickstarter for like self-published people who
Yeah.
really need it. These
Mhm.
like Matt, guys like Matt and stuff, they really use Kickstarter because they need it to get stuff published. Their name, you're you're starting out, not starting out, but you're building a name, right? Your
Yep.
name's not there yet. So
Mhm.
you really rely on Kickstarter to really get your stuff out and reach out to people. And that's where I save my money for funding on Kickstarter is smaller guys, self-published guys, people that are talented, that are trying to make a name for themselves, who probably would have a hard time breaking in with a publisher somewhere just because there's just so much content out there. There's so many creators
Mhm.
now, and it's hard. It isn't easy. And that's where I'm putting my money towards.
And that's where I'm at with Kickstarter right now is,
Mm.
we're still climbing the mountain. of Kickstarter. It's still going up every year, but when we hit that peak, and it sounds like we're starting to come to that peak, because like Joe was saying, you got to see these three things to be able to justify backing a Kickstarter. Well, that's going to be coming. More and more people are going to be like that, and they're going to get turned off by it in a way, and a lot of things aren't going to fund. Do I think that we're heading for a downhill anytime soon? Not at all. I think Kickstarter's definitely revived comics in a lot of ways. Just on digital alone. I mean, digital has been growing every year for the past, decade, 20 years. You're getting more and more digital readers.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I have zero issues with digital. I'll read a PDF or I'll go on Comixology, Kindle, whatever. I have zero issues reading digital. A lot of people do, and I could see that may be the harder sell is those people, especially if, like, let's say Comics Tribe, great publisher. They put out some great books, but they're based in Australia. So when you get books from them, you're paying that, like you guys said, you're paying that quite a hefty chunk of change for the shipping. I know that a lot of
they print over here now, though, which helps out a lot. Ever since the one they did with Ryan K. Lindsay, they've started printing in country, so that's helped them out a lot with that.
Actually, I lied before. She was the first Kickstarter I did. Then it was Cosmic Detective. Yeah, she was my first Kickstarter, actually. And that one, they were actually pretty quick with that, all things considered. I mean, it wasn't bad. They had a pretty good turnaround.
See, well, the thing about the bigger companies, I wouldn't mind if they would actually make themselves a presence and made it visible that they poured back into the economy. Because, like I mentioned, like there are so many creators on Kickstarter, guys like Matt, guys like Adrian, we've had a lot of them on, that when their book's done, they go and promote their buddies'. They go and promote these other guys', and they don't just tweet about it. They back them too. So like the money that they make from their Kickstarters, they pour into this guy's. They give the PDFs of their book to this guy, so it could be an exclusive, what's it called? Stretch goal.
A perk. Yeah.
And I love getting those. I love getting digital comic multi-packs from Kickstarters because I wanted to back that book so bad, but I couldn't.
That's also a double-edged sword, though, because there's a couple creators who I've had really weird interactions with, and when I see other creators like promoting them or putting them on like their go read, I'm like, I don't even want to read your stuff now.
You can just say my name, it's okay. I know.
It's definitely not you. Like I had one experience like this indie creator, he posted his stuff and I was like posting about it because I thought the concept was so cool, and like he like low-key befriended me, and then when the Kickstarter dropped, he like blocked me. And I promise you, like, it was nothing weird. Like, I never had any weird interactions with him online. But I thought that was so, like, weird. And it made me so uncomfortable. I'm like, I'm not going to promote or back your stuff. Like, that made me super uncomfortable.
That is a weird thing to do, honestly.
And then why would you dump him after the one Kickstarter? Like,
and I was, like, promoting his stuff so hard. And I was like, wow, you made it weird. And then the second person who did it was, like, I had to like back out. Unfortunately, I had to back out of a Kickstarter just because it didn't line up with payday. And so I backed out, and the guy was like messaging me like, hey, I don't know if you meant to like back out of this. And I was like, can I just like block this person? Like, and I'm like, so I ended up like going to the thing because I felt so bad. Like, even though he was already at, past you
should have blocked him.
The funding?
In my opinion, you should have blocked him. If anyone's making you feel bad about any kind of financial situation,
and so nice, and I'm just like, well, I guess my kids won't eat.
No, man.
There goes the shoe money.
There goes my box wine.
If you're a creator, especially in comics, man, you need to understand, like, bills need to get paid. People have mortgages, rent, groceries, people they need to provide for. Comics are a luxury. In all honesty, they are.
Like, I'm such like a nice person, and so like I messaged him back like, I am so sorry, I will read back right now, and I did, and I'm like, why did I do that?
He was the dickhead
Well,
in that situation.
I'll,
Absolutely.
And I still
I'll,
haven't
I'll,
gotten the book.
I'll have to cancel sometimes, and then sometimes they'll send me a message being like, "Is there anything we can do to make it better?" Usually, I'll just be like, "You know, dude, I got phone and stuff this month that I
Yeah.
forgot about, but I'll get next issue." And they're usually pretty cool with that. And if you're
No, this
not,
guy
then
was
yeah,
like
block them.
relentless. Like,
That's
are
creepy.
you sure? And I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm not sure. I guess I can scrounge together pennies.
But I mean,
Did you get the book?
people.
Was it good? Was he
I
right?
haven't even gotten it yet.
She hasn't even gotten it yet.
I haven't
So I
even
find,
gotten it, so I don't know.
but I think
Oh man.
like Matt, the way you view it is great. Like
Yeah.
people have
People have
things to
bills.
pay, and sometimes you like Johnny said, you forgot about something.
Yeah.
And I think as a creator, you shouldn't take it personally if a person takes.
Like I'll say it
like-
right
like-
now. I had multiple people back out of the campaign just because either their visas bounced or no reason at all, or this, that, and the other thing. And it's not something you want to advertise. Obviously, you want to promote like, hey, everyone's getting this book, you should get it too. But like in all honesty, life hits and you need to be okay with that, right?
Yeah, and I think creators shouldn't take it personally because
No.
it has nothing to do with the creator themselves. It has to do with that person and what's happening in their lives, their personal lives. And it probably has absolutely nothing to do with the creator, and they should just be like, okay, I understand. Like you said, things happen in life and move on. And especially if you're overfunded, it sucks. Yes, I could see it's disappointing to see people back out, but I could see if you were tight, like if you just barely funded and you see people, then you'd be like, oh man, then it really sucks. But
Actually, I have a con that you just reminded me of because there's pros and cons. Right? So I had a few different backers go in on a few different times going on the higher level tiers and then back out.
I know people who back high tiers
and
then don't go through with it. And then let me tell you, Jonathan Hedrick, one time, I'm sorry, because I have to.
No, continue.
Jonathan Hedrick one time sent out an email and was like, hey, like, I'm short this much money because, you're not getting this level of reward because this many people backed out. And I recognized one of the amounts, and I know that it was somebody I knew. And I hit them up and I was like, we're not getting this reward because you won't change your visa, right, on the thing. And I know you have the money in your account, and just out of spite, didn't fucking do it, right?
Yeah.
And so when I tell you, that made me so hot. I was like, why would you back that high of an amount if you had no intention of changing your account information or wanting to pay? And it's so frustrating because you're right. There are people who will do that just to be able to post like, oh, I backed, you get the tweet like, oh, I backed this, like for clout, or I backed this. And I'm like, did you know?
But the tweet
for whatever reason it might be. My point of it is they're coming in, they're backing a high level tier, and then they're unbacking, and then they're going to go back another high level tier, and then they're unbacking. They're playing with the Twitter or not Twitter, the Kickstarter algorithm throughout the campaign, and it's very frustrating. And it's not something that.
But on Twitter, when you post the tweet, like let's say I back this project, it doesn't say what tier you back.
No,
it just says you back the project, which is a good thing because otherwise more people would probably be like, look at what I backed. I backed this $1,000 tier where, and then fucking pull out after, like just to be like.
I've just backed like the, you just want to be a patron. Like, just here's $5. I'm sorry, I can't afford the shipping.
But I think that's why it's really important for backers, creators to offer that PDF. Because Kickstarter, like Johnny said, it's an international platform. Like you're getting stuff from all over the world, and shipping can become quite costly. And like a perfect example is I backed the Tart issue 13, and he had a great tier where it was the catch-up tier, where he offered issues 1 to 13 for $1 each. It was $13 for that tier.
Yeah,
all PDFs. They're all PDFs, but it was the catch-up, and I saw that and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Like you get all the back issues for $1 each. Like I'm in. I backed that instantly. The digital tier of the catch-up one, and
That's why
Like,
Tart's Kickstarter legacy, man. Kevin and Ludovico, man, they've been ruling that platform since before most other people caught on, and that's why though they've always had such lucrative and very easy to pay and play campaigns, man. They don't beat around
yeah.
the bush. They know that they have something good, and the fact that they're at Scout now proves that. I mean, I think that they should personally be at Image. They're good enough, but Scout will do for now.
But I mean, like they're going on there with issue 13, right? And if you haven't read it at all, then that's disappointing. You're like, oh, I don't want to back this. I'll be so lost in the story. But when they offer a catch-up tier that's so incredibly affordable, like you can get the whole story, and why would you not want to?
It's a great way to open the door to new people,
Yeah.
new fans, new readers. Yeah.
And like these books are probably like you'll reach new fans. Like they've probably already reached all the people they've reached that are going to buy issue 1 to 12. So why not offer it cheaper to get brand new readers so that when you get to issue 14, 15, 16, they're buying those issues at full price instead of just,
because
you already
comic creators are notoriously bad at business.
and not to keep talking about Jonathan Hedrick, but let me tell you, he's like Kickstarter all-star to me. But like, because I got into Capable late, but those tiers where, here's all the issues and bonus issues just for getting, the back issues. It's like, and it's quality, and they're just so good. Like, and then I just got an email because they're listening to us from Safe Sex for the Kickstarter, and she's saying like, oh, like, yeah, we're having shipping problems, and we're having shipping problems and the surveys, and now they're trying to charge for shipping, but it's a mistake, so don't respond. And I'm like, what? and then the one with the guy who would not stop messaging me, I got an email from that one, and it's like, oh, sorry, we had to switch creative teams, new artist. What?
So yeah, we're having the whole book redrawn, is what he just told you.
Basically. Wow. And I'm just like, okay, like I really should have backed out when I could have at this point. Like I should have just left it alone.
Well,
you're making me feel really good tonight about where I'm at with my project.
Listen,
but
goodness.
So
but I mean, there are things that are out of the creator's control. Like, I feel so bad for Ryan Brown. Like, he did his omnibus for curse words, and he went through a fulfillment company or whatever. They're the ones who pack everything for you, and they screwed him over royally. He had to get his pallet delivered to his place, pack everything himself because that company wasn't getting the stuff out. And he had so much damages because they just didn't take, like, when they shipped everything back to him, they just threw it on a pallet, didn't wrap it up properly. He said he had so many, like you gotta, like a lot of these guys who do some Kickstarters, they're smaller, so they pack it all themselves. But when you get big, you go through a fulfillment company, and they didn't do their job at all. They didn't send hardly anything out. He had an assistant who pretty much, I think, packed almost everything. It took forever, but he was incredibly gracious. He was transparent. You send a message, he'd get back to you, explaining everything thoroughly, in detail, what happened. He wasn't like blowing you off like, oh, whatever, you'll get it when you get it, it's not my fault. No, he felt bad. Like, you could see it in the message that he wrote. He felt bad. And even now, his latest Kickstarter was the omnibus for God Hates Astronauts, and his books, I think, are stuck in the shipping yards. What is it, in LA or something, in a container?
No, it's stuck on a ship, right? It's actually one of the books that's still out at sea.
He's like, I don't know. He's like, and now he's like,
shipping's a problem right now.
Yeah,
a huge problem.
He said it's over. No more overseas printing. He's like, I'm going to print everything in the States. Yep. That's it. He's not printing anything in China anymore, or wherever they print it overseas. He's like, it's all going to be printed in the States, because he's like, I can't handle this. Because he's done 2 Kickstarters in a row where the fulfillment part was just a nightmare for him in both accounts. And like, I think this kind of stuff would make a creator want to quit comics almost, just for the headaches, like that come with it. And I feel bad for the guy because he's a super nice guy and just wants to get his book out there, and he can't.
But isn't it easier to like be supportive of people who like their heart is in the right place? And I think that's what's like really special about Kickstarter is because they're letting you in on the process. And even with the whether they're weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, you feel like a part of the process. It's when they're like AWOL and you're like, so what's going on?
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want to come off like I'm entitled, but also it's like, we've been supporting you. So it's like a really like fine line to walk too as a consumer and a fan of somebody, because especially with the smaller ones, because you know that like life happens. This is probably not their only job.
Yeah.
Shipping problems and shortages and stuff. But also, like, I did give you money. So it's like kind of
there's a school for being a Kickstarter creator, right? Let alone a Kickstarter comic creator. And that's, I mean, Joe is saying, like, just be gracious, be humble, be transparent, be honest, and it makes a world of difference. People are very understanding most of the time, but just don't screw people around is what it comes down to. I mean, with the shipping thing, I got stickers for Dieback printed in the States, and I did it days after the Kickstarter wrapped up, and it's been, I don't know, maybe going on 6 weeks now, and they're still on their way. They're still on their way. I have the shipping date of the end of the month here, and I'm just hoping they show up, to be honest.
But even with like the what do you call it? Like the after you back, what's it called? The reward levels after
the stretch goals?
Yes, the stretch goals. Even with the stretch goals, I'm like sometimes I feel like creators can be a little bit more realistic because I don't want to wait for the book if it means that it's going to take you guys a month or two longer to print posters or stickers or have some kind of like gift made. I'm perfectly fine with getting the book that I wanted on time versus waiting for like a bonus item. You know what I mean? Because my faith is in the story, not in the sticker.
I think the creator gets so wrapped up in the excitement of it that they just want to give you
I get you.
everything they have. But I completely agree with you. I think that's it's about staying level headed with it, right? So that's good.
I'm with Elle 100% on that. I'm not the biggest fan of stretch goals, and what turned me off stretch goals?
I love dollar store trinkets. The dollar store trinkets get me every time.
That's what that pissed me. The first magnetic press one I backed when I got it a month and a half after my comic shop got it. I was like, I told them, I said, listen, I don't care about the dollar store stretch goals.
Yeah.
Like, just send me the book. And not on that, they put so much crap in it. It makes a bigger box. It costs me more in shipping.
But right? No lie, when Small World came in, I was like, look at this cool coin.
Yeah,
dude. Like, my comic book needed Cracker Jack prizes a long time ago, man. And dude, the stuff for Small World's probably the best one since Master of Pen, though. Like, we got some really good prints, and both the posters were sweet.
The book is vinyl. So beautiful. The gold foil. Oh, it's so good. But I'm mad, right? I'm like, oh, you guys were kind of sucky during the Kickstarter, but once it came, I was like, oh, you guys are undefeated. This is beautiful. Thank you so much.
Somebody did a Kickstarter recently, and they did records for their stretch goals or something like that. And of course now, now there's an international vinyl shortage, and it's what do you do? What do you do in that instance?
You gotta get the coins.
You're just waiting the coins.
The coins,
and you go mint a Dieback coin.
But one like Adrian Kolarek, who did Trakovi just recently, and man, I am so impressed and surprised by how smooth and well his post-production is going. He's almost got all his books. The vinyl came in, or it's on its way. It's been shipped. Like, he hasn't had too many hiccups. He's all nervous and stuff. I'm like, dude, you're like, you've had one of the smoothest post like campaigns that I've seen of any creator I've chatted
And
with
he's
have
such
had.
a likable person, you know. Even if he was like, "Oh, it's delayed 6 months," I'd be like, "That's fine. Take
That's
your
fine.
time. Take your time. I'm fine."
Yeah, but man, he's had a really smooth post production for his campaign. Like, I'm really impressed. I don't know who the printers he went
Right.
to, but man, lickety split, man. They had his books like within
Yeah.
2 weeks.
That
Two
reminds
weeks
me
he
of
sent it, and he got them. Like,
Awesome.
man, and
I think today,
yeah,
was it Scout posted their Kickstarter for the figurines for Phantom Starkiller and
okay,
what's the other one? The Black Caravan, Electric
Mm.
Parade,
Mhm.
okay.
Julian. And I was like, "Oh, I'm backing this $25 a figurine. That's fucking cool, right?" And then I checked the date for a delivery. That thing said December 2022, and I said, "I don't know if I'm gonna be alive in December 2022." Look, I want to back. These figurines are so cool looking, but in good faith, I cannot
Yeah,
order anything for December 2022.
I just hope Adrian gets his issues in long enough to hang them up in the meat shop like he promised us, man. Like my copies
smoke
better
them.
smell like sausage.
Yeah, smoke
Is
them.
that what you're waiting for?
You know me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you like the sausage.
All right,
yeah.
Taco Bell.
Oh, shots are fired. Oh,
But
Jesus.
I'd have to say my number one pet peeve with Kickstarters, going back to what Joe was talking about, and that is catch-up tiers. A lot of
Mm.
campaigns don't have them, and if they
Yep.
do, they're so spread apart and they're hard to get a hold of, and they end up being expensive because by the time they understand that like you want issue 1 and 2 and not just the new issue 2, like you got to
Mhm,
get the tier that has like the poster and the sticker pack
mhm.
and
Yeah,
and they want like $48 for it, and I'm like, dude, like I just want to read your 2 issues.
yeah. I don't
Like
want the
that's all I
poster.
want,
Give me,
and I don't
give me
want the
the yeah,
PDFs.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
take
Like
them, but I don't want them really.
one thing I enjoyed about the plastic, they just did their hardcover omnibus campaign, and
Mhm.
you could tack on Narco. They did like a twofer where they did the hardcover for both, and you could order separate or you can order them both. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna order both because the shipping for
Mhm.
one book was like 15-20 bucks, and I
That's
think it was just
why I couldn't back it, and I
it,
fucking
it
I love Doug
and
Wagner, but I
but
I couldn't
I
back it
haven't.
because of shipping.
Yeah, but the second book was only like what $3 more on the shipping, so you get
But
two
it's
books.
still like
So that's
$20
where,
for sure.
yeah, but that's where I'm like, okay, for me this is worth it because I'm getting two books for almost the same price as I'd pay for shipping for one.
Okay.
And
Mm.
that's where I start calculating. Like for me, I start
Mhm.
like that's why I don't back too many physical single issues
Mhm.
because I do the math and I'm like, it just doesn't make sense. What I would
I
probably
don't
do
know
is
how
wait
hard
till
it is to have a tier that just has issue 1 and 2 for like $18. I mean, a lot of Kickstarters do have it, but then like a good, I don't know, 25% of the ones I want to back, it just doesn't allude into their mind that hey, maybe this guy didn't see issue 1 and like, but he wants to buy both issues, and they
yeah.
make it virtually impossible unless you want to get the digital or
Well,
you want to spend $50.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, I would do that. Like it, but I think the problem is often there's probably no more physical copies left of issue 1 and 2, depending on how far apart these campaigns are. Right? They probably maybe they sold out on the Gumroad or wherever else they're selling it in between campaigns, so they can't really offer. They can't physically offer issue
Mhm.
1 probably anymore unless they go to reprint, which is extra cost. Which they're
Yeah.
actually having a campaign to try to print that third fucking issue.
My
So it's
my
you know
favorite
it's
reward for backing though is, and this is gonna sound like a little bit narcissistic, but is when it's like, "Oh, we'll include your name in the thank you section." I'm like, "Oh, my name?" You know, it's like 100 characters, right? Because my full name is like
I'd
very
be like,
long.
I'll reply. I'll be like, I'll send an email. I'll reply. I'll trade your name for mine on the cover. I'll trade names with you if you put your name on the cover in marker.
Like I think the
Fuck
most
it.
I've
I don't need
spent
it in the
on
credit.
I think the most I've spent is for Deadliest Bouquet, which hasn't come out yet, but we got the digital reward for that already, but we haven't gotten the physical. And I was just like, "Oh, my name in the let me type my full entire name. I want my whole name in that one. It's
Wait, they
hardcover
make
and
you
it's pretty. Okay.
they
Do,
made
do
you
they get?
pay to have your name in the
No, no,
thank
no.
you section? Oh,
It's like a bonus. You know, they try to get you, so it's like included in like
Just
the
trying to
base.
like add value.
Yeah, but it makes me
Yeah.
feel like, oh, my old name, and my name is like very distinctive. My name is Eldania. So like when my you know I go by Elle, but my name is Eldania. So I'm like, oh, when people see my name, they're gonna be like, who's that?
But do they give you like character restrictions? Because I'd like
No,
write
I
like
put
this fucking.
Eldania Martel Mary. I put my whole entire name. I said, and
I
y'all
would.
better print it, the whole entire thing.
I'd write like a name that's like takes up half a page. You know, it's like. Glad you know, like it just goes on forever. Be like, dude, you can't write that. What?
Add a
That's my
couple
name,
extra
man.
O's.
Yeah.
You guys are making me reconsider some reward levels. I mean, with Nightmare Man, with Wilding, there, we had one tier where I would draw you into the book,
Mhm.
and I think that sold out in the first week. I was floored by that
Oh,
because it was
people
they
are
love
so
it.
narcissistic.
They love
That's
that.
Yep.
such
Yeah.
a beautiful
Yeah.
and look, I'm too cheap to do it, but if I had like
Yeah.
the disposable income, I'd be like,
Yeah.
draw me in every scene. I want to be every murder victim in every panel.
I want a full page pinup.
Right. Make
Of
it
my
the
head being
glorious
cut off.
scene.
Yeah.
Right.
Put it in. I want it poster size too, so I can hang it in my kid's
Right.
room.
I want my kids to know that I was murdered.
That's good.
Yeah.
But even like the smaller like campaigns, like I'll back some campaigns I've backed for $1, like just a digital, like they're like, hey, we're just experimenting, we're not comic book people, but here's a comic book we made.
Mhm.
I'm down to back that, like, and
And
I
for
really feel it's all about like how you approach it.
for all the people that are watching this right now and they're thinking, I'd kind of like to do a Kickstarter. That is a great way to get on the ground floor of learning how to do Kickstarters, is backing them for $1. You're
Mhm.
going to get a lot of different content because you get all the updates, you get all the insight of what everyone backing it is, and you get a variety of it. So you can see
Mhm.
who's doing what, how are they doing it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, because we
And
have Ray in the chats. He had a Kickstarter recently that just wrapped up. And he's saying he has a cat cameo.
Oh yeah, Ray, yes.
Yeah.
He's a killer, man.
He's from
Canadian.
yeah, he's from like around Winnipeg area, no? Somewhere around there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always putting out work. It's good stuff.
He
What was
just
his
wrapped
book?
his campaign up.
What's the name of
Shit,
it?
it escapes me the name of it. It's a dragon.
It's like a single word name.
Yeah,
I think.
fuck.
Don't we look good?
Oh man.
And if
I
anybody
can't-
loves anything more than themselves, it's their pets. So that's
I-
actually ingenious.
Yeah, it's. I don't have my tablet in front of me, so I can't go
Fallen.
on my. Fallen. That's it. Fallen.
Yeah.
Exactly. Regina. Yeah, Regina. Yeah.
Regina?
Yeah, he's from Regina.
Regina. That's an interesting
Fallen, yeah.
pronunciation.
We beat you to it. We don't feel so bad now.
Yeah.
We're like, God damn it.
Like, how many posts of his have I liked and I don't know the title right now? You know what? To be fair, Ray,
Yeah.
we're drinking tonight.
Oh, we know you're
No,
drinking.
I'm not drinking. I'm just old.
Oh.
So Matt, when you're backing, is there any pet peeves of campaigns that maybe get under your nails a little bit?
Oh, where do I start?
Okay.
The things that bother me with Kickstarter, people. Actually, I'll talk about this one. I think that DM marketing has a really bad perception to it. So the comic community, I see this quite often where they do not like to be DM'd about this new Kickstarter going forward, or this new book coming up, this new thing that's going out. And I think that is misleading. So I worked for a marketing company, social media marketing company, for about a year when I was younger. And that was one of their prime ways for marketing whatever company they were doing, whether it was window installations or roofing or baking or whatever. It's DM marketing, and the way the algorithm on social media works right now is just horrible. You couldn't get a post in front of 50% of your audience to save your life right now. I have 4,000 followers on Instagram, couple thousand on Twitter, and maybe 10% of everyone sees everything, maybe.
Okay.
So doing it properly too, because obviously you don't want to get banned, but um I think, I got, when I was doing it, I got a lot of, not a lot, but I got the occasional person being like, I didn't appreciate this and I won't be backing. But for every one person that did that, I got 10 backers.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of people that were just like, oh, I didn't see this. Thank you for the news. Or, I'll be liking your posts going forward from here. So I think the taboo that's around marketing and how creators use social media, I think that needs to change. So that's a big one. As far as Kickstarter, the platform goes, I think, yeah, just creators not being transparent, creators not being honest. Joe mentioned earlier that shipping with Kickstarter could be a lot better if Kickstarter could get a shipping company to go. I think that would be amazing. Other than that, I found the site itself from the creator's end to be very informative. It showed me a lot of insights on where I'm getting backers from, where I'm getting clicks from. Just that sort of thing. Another thing to note for anyone that's looking to do a Kickstarter, the amount of people that don't actually watch your video is ridiculous. I put so much time into my video and had maybe 50% of the backers watch it.
Look, don't post videos. I'll read, but don't post
You
a
don't
video. I'm
you
not
don't
gonna
watch
watch it.
them? Oh
No.
man.
Listen, it's not any shade to the creators or nothing, but
Yeah.
please, like, I've always been, even listen, I homeschool my daughter,
Mhm.
and when it has a transcript, I click it. I'm not gonna watch this video. Just show me the transcript. I can
Yeah.
read fast enough to know what's going on. Just
Okay.
but that's just me.
No, that's insightful. I love it.
Yeah,
I love
I'm
the new
very much
perspective.
a reader in terms of absorbing information.
Hmm.
So if you're gonna post a video, I'm gonna be like, oh, a video. Like I could just read what's happening.
That's
Yeah,
fair. That's
give
fair.
us a good synopsis, a fun little
Yeah.
rundown of who
Bullet
you are,
points.
and
Yeah.
show us
Oh,
what the book looks like. And
the people
that's
that
all you
just
really need
go
to
in
do.
like a roundabout way of telling you what the book is about, what the Kickstarter, like everything that's happening in like 3 paragraphs before telling you about the book. That's a pet peeve.
Yeah.
Just wait,
Matt, to what
info load.
the first thing you said
Mm.
regarding what was it? Go ahead,
The
because
instant
we've
I
both
have,
been
messenger.
drinking. Huh?
Oh,
we've
the
both
instant
been.
messaging marketing.
The message, yes.
Oh, the marketing. Yeah, yeah,
The messaging.
yeah.
I feel like Kickstarter makes it very clear, like you can withdraw your participation and that kind of stuff. And
Hmm.
so from like a consumer to creator, like
Hmm.
personally to you,
Hmm.
like keep sending those newsletters, keep sending those updates because I find so many books, so many stories, so many things I would not have found otherwise through that marketing.
I appreciate that.
And so for like you said, every one person who's like, I didn't ask for this. Okay,
Yeah,
don't open the email. And, like it's
exactly.
very
Yeah.
clearly from
Yeah.
Kickstarter. Don't open it or don't subscribe to it.
Hmm.
But I've found so many different creative projects that I've just been like blown away by. And
Hmm.
I would not have found them unless they were still marketing after their initial campaign.
Yeah, you gotta reach out to people. Outreach is one of the biggest things in comics, and I think that's something that takes people a lot longer to learn than it should. Is you
Mhm.
need to be able to get the books out there. You need to get the asses in seats, so to speak, the eyes on the product.
Yeah.
Well, one of
Because
the things for me though is I need I hate to sound entitled,
He's
but
odd.
make it personalized. If you just send me a cheap copy and pasted piece of crap that you send to everybody,
Mhm.
I am not going to really check your DM or your campaign out. But and this is how a person who's
But
gotten a lot of money from me is probably one of my best buddies on Kickstarter, Jonathan
yep.
Thompson, popped out of nowhere and he addressed me right out of the back because he saw I did a post about how much I love David Lapham, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Yo, you like Lapham? Check my book out, Burn Residue." And I was just
Ex-
like,
Exactly, and that's where I prefixed it with you. You need to do it right. I owe
Mhm.
anyone that I ever message or DM, and it would be rare that I don't do this. I start with their name or their username if their name's not
Mhm.
available, and I try to make a comment. If I see one of their top posts and it's like something that I can say something about or something in their bio, it's like it's not. I don't want to become fake with it, you know?
Right.
I want it to be genuine. I really just want to get this is like
Yes.
I'm not like, the other thing is that it's targeted too. I'm making sure that the person that I'm messaging is like into comics, not only into comics but probably likes Kickstarter. I'm
Yeah.
not messaging Dolores who only follows Jeff Bezos and Walmart. You know, like
Right.
she's
yeah,
not going to click on Kickstarter. I'm going to message Johnny from Pink Buzz, who is consistently commenting and retweeting and sharing these Kickstarters. And I'm like, maybe we'll bond over the fact that we both backed a certain Kickstarter. And maybe I'll say, hey, you might like the Eternal Dieback issue 2. Oh, you didn't pick up issue 1? Well, that's okay, because I learned from Joe that I should definitely bundle issue 1 and issue 2 in a nice and cheap PDF to get you in the door.
Yeah. Like, it is
Yeah.
true. Being genuine is, I think, the most important part.
Yeah.
Because, like, a perfect example of just reaching out, like Adrian, the Trakovi guy.
Mhm.
Mm.
I did not even see this Kickstarter, and all of a sudden, boom! I see this. The Three Press started. They followed me on Twitter, so I saw,
Yeah.
oh, Canadian boy. So I clicked on it, and oh, he has a
Canadian
Kickstarter.
boys. Here we
Then,
go.
then I was like, oh, there's a Kickstarter. So I was like, okay. So I
Yeah.
started going down that rabbit hole. Okay,
Yeah.
Trakovi. So I started looking into it, and I'm like, damn, this looks good. And I think there was only like a week left to his Kickstarter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And if he would have never
Mhm.
followed me, I probably would have never seen his Kickstarter. And then I backed it. Then I was like, "Yo, Johnny, check this out." Johnny backed it,
Yeah.
and like it's
It's a
like
trickle
that.
effect.
It's a
Yeah,
trickle effect for
trickle
Yeah.
sure.
effect. It's just you're just
Yeah,
creating a network of
yeah.
Because I think,
Networking is
a community,
extremely important. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Joe, you posted about it, and I was like, "Oh, that looks cool." And then, Sergio hit me and was like, "Oh, this guy hit us with his Kickstarter," and I was like, "I don't know." And then, but I was like, "No, Joe talked about it. I saw his post." And then I went and read it, and I was like, "Stop! Wait a minute! Like this is out. Like he nailed this out of the park. Like it was so good." And I love when people I feel are authentic. And I think Jeremiah Espinoza with Hollow North, he's been
yeah,
so fucking
Mhm.
cool. Like with that Kickstarter, and like even with the goals, it's like I feel like even when I see what the goal is, I feel better about like backing something, because if I see a goal and it's like, oh, we're trying to get $35,000 or 40,000, I'm like, who's backing y'all? Because that's a pretty
Mhm.
big number. But when I
yeah,
see a goal like 1,500, I'm like, shut the fuck up. You only need 1,500. Like, let me tweet as much as I can, harass as many people as I can, because 1,500, like, to support your dreams, like that should be nothing.
Yeah.
And so I feel like Jeremiah, he's super cool with his, and I just love to see like small goals get obtained and then
That's
doubled and tripled. I
that's
love
another
that.
one with what Elle mentions there. That's a bit of a peeve of mine is when people make goals that are just so unrealistic
Hmm.
for their reach, for their stature in the industry. You need to be realistic with what you're doing on Kickstarter, because not only is it just kind of junk, in my opinion, to take money from. I suppose you're not taking the money though until it
it's
goes
funded.
through.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it.
But even like the false promise, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It
You
does.
know it's not gonna get fulfilled.
Yeah.
which one? Which one?
No, I'm just saying in general.
General.
Like there's some people who will like. I've seen campaigns that are like, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I back some of them. I know they're not gonna get fulfilled, but I'm like, you know what? Pipe dreams. Let me back you. So, but I've never been disappointed though when something doesn't get back, because I also feel like for you to ask for that much money, you have to have interest. Well, I feel like you might have interest from, you know, a bigger company or a publisher, or
Already
you think,
involved,
yeah,
yeah.
or you think
Mhm.
this is going to get published regardless, because
Mhm.
why would you ask for this amount? It doesn't make, it's not mathing, it's not
Mhm.
making sense. And so in those situations I feel like there has to be something bigger at play.
Mhm.
It's because it probably matches like the print run they want to put out,
And it's free
right?
promo. Like if you think
Yeah.
about it, like, oh, we're gonna put this on Kickstarter for, you know, $40,000, and it's not gonna get back. But guess what? When we do publish it, all those people who did have interest are gonna be like, oh, we
Or
still get it.
they might have backroom deals with publishers. A publisher's probably like,
Yeah.
we think your book
Mhm.
is good. We want
Mhm.
so many copies. If you're thinking to go to Kickstarter, go to Kickstarter. Have this many copies printed. Get it
Yeah.
funded on Kickstarter, and then we'll put it in Diamond, and we'll move those copies for you. Maybe there's some like backroom deals going, and it's like if it gets funded, we'll back your book, like because there's no risk for them involved, and then they could just right because
They
it already
like
got
gauge it,
funded.
yeah, gauge
Well,
it
Yeah.
on interest.
that's a rattlesnake way to approach it because, like, I mean, like next week we're gonna have this guy on the show, and EPHK, and there's no way he could have not known that Image was interested in his book when he was still running the Kickstarter because
Oh,
it
y'all are having
wasn't.
him on next week?
Yeah, live from
Yeah.
Berlin,
Oh, I love
EPHK is
his
gonna be
art
up on
so
here,
much.
and
I'm
he
a
never
pervert.
tried. He never tried to jack up Mart Vallis's price or anything like that,
Yeah.
knowing full well that it was going to be an Image book in just a little while. So, I mean,
Johnny, let us have our conspiracy theory.
well, no, I'm not saying that people can't be that way. I'm just saying it's a rattlesnake ass way to be about it. You know what I
What's
mean?
the
And
best thing to
talking
do?
about being ungenuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
no,
I'd
I
rather
got
get a
you.
copy and pasted DMs all day long than have somebody come at me that way.
But also, speaking to the DM situation, is sometimes I'm like, I'd rather get a generic DM just because I have social anxiety than like a specific one. Because when I get one that says Elle or Eldanya, I feel like I have to respond because they're addressing me. But if I get a generic one, I'm like, I don't have to say anything. Like,
I have never not received a Kickstarter. End of
mhm.
story. Out of all the ones I've backed, I've never not received it. Or if I have, I've gotten a hold of the person and it was a mistake and I got a copy. It was just late and it got lost by Mr. Posty or whatever, thanks
Yeah,
to
I
Louis
haven't
DeJoy
not
and
received
COVID.
anything either.
Yeah,
That's
message
that's
the creator. Absolutely, get a hold of
yeah.
them.
But how accountable does Kickstarter hold creators? Like if there's complaints or something, does Kickstarter have like, okay, we've received several flags about you,
Mhm.
so if you want to use Kickstarter again, sorry, buddy, it's not going to happen. How much do they police the creators that come on to
How
I've heard
Matt?
it's
Kickstarter?
not very
How's
much.
that? Not very much.
Not very much currently. They're looking into it, is what I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay,
Just like those fake backers, those are going to be a thing that you can report going forward in 2022. I believe there's going to be an update to
okay.
something is what I was reading, and yeah, I'm sure if all 250 people reported Dieback and were like, "Hey, we never got this book from this asshole up in Canada," I'd probably be blacklisted from the site. Maybe I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you were Canadian or because it
It's
didn't get
probably
back?
because of the maple
Yeah.
syrup. Yeah.
Okay.
No, you'd probably get back on because of the maple syrup, but
The books were smelling
Well,
sweet.
because
Yeah.
goddamn
Well, the thing
it,
If your
If
books
he-
come sticky, it's maple syrup.
Well, the thing
Yeah.
I understand
Except
about
for Johnny's.
Kickstarter is the comics is the only thing that's really popping. Like, if you go into their devices thing, like a lot of what Kickstarter runs is scams. There's a lot of if you go on YouTube and watch Kickstarter videos, you'll mostly hear negative things about mostly negative experiences. From what I understand, I think the comics economy and community on Kickstarter is probably the only positive thing they have going at the moment.
It's
Which
been
is why
growing consecutively every year.
But
Which is why
I also
they
think that
should double
people like
down.
to be negative.
Yeah.
Like I feel like people tend to only leave reviews when they
If it's
feel they're put
negative.
out.
Yeah.
And especially when it's something that they think is promised to them. It's on Kickstarter, it feels like such a special thing to be included in this project. And so
What
it doesn't surprise me that people would be like, post negative reviews only
Well, the
because
great thing
they
is I
get what
think
they
I've had
want.
to. I think I've had to ask for second copies to be sent to me 3 times, and I've never even had to prove to the creators that my copy didn't get sent. I could have ripped these guys off, which I didn't, by the way, but
Mhm.
I could have. And all I did is like, "Hey, my issue never came," and they're like, "Okay, we'll have
Well,
another
that's a
one in the
lot of
mail
work
for
too.
you."
It's like it's
Yeah.
probably cheaper to just be like, here, whatever.
Yeah, comes down to the same thing Home Depot does. I mean, I used to work at Home Depot when
Oh,
I
you
was a
guys have Home
teenager.
Depot in Canada?
Of
We
course, they
do
have
have
Are you
Home
homes.
Depot.
serious?
You guys got houses up
You
there?
guys have homes?
We got we need
But
the lumber for the floors on our igloos.
Is it
Yeah,
maple? Is it
actually,
maple lumber?
it's made out of ice.
And
It's
my
actually
point
made out of
is
ice.
my point is that you can walk into Home Depot, pick something off the shelf, and walk out, and we're not allowed to stop you
Well, that's
because
out here too, technically, but everybody wants to
it's
be a
cheaper.
hero.
It's cheap, no doubt. It's cheaper for them to just lose the whatever that product
Right.
was than
Mhm.
put up a
Oh, I'm
fight.
going to get in chainsaw tomorrow then, man.
You said, I'm buying up the
Got a
store
long
tomorrow.
list.
Go ahead and get a fridge.
No, I just want a chainsaw.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. So what's been your favorite Kickstarter that you've backed this year?
Me?
Yeah, well, anyone on the panel, man. What's everyone's favorite Kickstarter they've backed this year that they were impressed and want to give a shout out to that creator, or it could be your top 3, or that you think they deserve a shout out for running an amazing campaign and putting out a great product.
I'll give you top 3. One of them I'm really proud of is Ray. Ray, I've never been able to say your name. I've said it in private and I can't do it, so I'm just not going to butcher it. But he produced the Fallen comic book. I would definitely go check that out if I were you. And the other 2 are a little bit more of a big name players, I guess, in the comic industry. That's Liam Sharp. He produced an art book that I had. I think he just sent an email out for it today that I'm really excited about. I can't wait to get my hands on that one. And then the third is, what is that called? Do you guys, is it Dave? No, it's not. It's not Dave McNiven. The dude that made Dead Rabbits or whatever. He produced an art book of
Yes,
because it was called like Dead Rabbits.
Dead Eyes.
It was
Dead Eyes.
Yeah.
Now it's Dead
Yeah.
Eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's
Yeah.
Dead Eyes. Exactly what I was
Yeah.
going to say. They had to do.
Yeah,
name
he
change.
has an art book out as well. Yes.
Yeah,
I
I got
saw
that. And those were all very very
Guy
impressive.
Davis, right?
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure his name. Have it
I
over
have
there.
the
But
book there, but
the
Well,
orange
yeah.
one. Yeah,
yeah, I saw that Kickstarter too. Yeah.
that's cool.
Mm.
Yeah, I enjoyed those.
I really like the Yule, the Dreadful Tales for the holiday season.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. I loved every story in there. I loved showing my 10-year-old the Elf on the Shelf story. Like, hey, go read this. There's nothing weird about it. Just go read it. That was probably a highlight of my year. Thoughtscape was really dope. I really loved Thoughtscape and the covers that they had for that. Obviously Matt Rowe's. And then Busy Little Bees was a UK book, but they had such a beautiful cover, like with a piano. It was such a beautiful cover, and it came from the UK, and it came quick. Like, I was not expecting to get this anytime right after. Anything by Jonathan Hedrick, I've gotten immediately. And the quality, I don't know if you guys read Capable, but It's so good. It's about like what if like something
I like his
happened.
freak show books, his zombie ones. Those are really good.
Yeah, and Quicksand. I got Quicksand too, which came with patches and stickers, all the stretch goals you guys would slobber over. And then but like my favorite has been probably let me think. Yeah, I mean, they're all pretty much, on par. I have not been disappointed by anything I've gotten this year. But I will say that Jonathan Hedrick has been ahead of the game. He's sent it on time. The quality of the books, phenomenal. Like I did not expect the quality of book from Capable. I didn't think I was even gonna like Capable, to be honest. But it's been like one of my favorite titles. Listen, Nightmare Man, easily it's such a good book, and I'm not even just saying that because you're on here, but
Mhm.
it's easily a contender for like favorite story. Like if we're gonna go off of one story, like
Mhm.
favorite one off of the year, because it. Oh my! I don't even know what to say about it.
I
It's
shouldn't be saying
phenomenal.
this about Nightmare Man.
Go
Um,
ahead. Listen, you guys, be quiet.
but Wilding and I have we have a deal in store
Mm-hmm.
for
Do you?
for
I'll
for
buy
2022.
everything.
Yeah,
I'll
with
buy
Nightmare Man.
everything.
There's some news coming with Nightmare Man in 2022, so look out for that.
So the
Nice.
aesthetics
Yeah.
of Nightmare Man reminded me of like old school Evil Ernie, like
Evil Ernie.
Yeah.
aesthetically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
exactly.
I fucking Johnny, I fucking love Evil Ernie. He's like, I grew up reading it because my dad was like a comic book collector. He was super into, Chaos Comics, the pins, the cards, everything. So I had all of that growing up. And when I saw Nightmare Man, I was like, I don't even care what it's about. Aesthetically, I love what he looks like. And then I read it and I was like, there is no way. And even as a one off, I was like, fantastic. I love it. But if you were to continue it, I'm also super in.
There's some
And the
news.
back,
There's some
I
news to
love
come
the
with that one.
and I love the backup story in that one too. It was
Little
great.
things. That was our
Yeah,
that was our first
So
collaboration
good.
together. That was
it was
both of those
great.
stories
I
were
loved
fun.
it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
working on another thing with Wilding right now. Called Free Hands. It's our pirate tale that's going to be coming to Kickstarter in early 2022. It's so freaking weird to say 2022. Am I the
It
only one?
is. No, because it does not feel like the end of November.
No.
And I feel like I'm missing a whole bunch of time. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you guys? What did you enjoy on Kickstarter this year?
I slowed down a bit on my Kickstarters this year, so I backed mainly digital stuff. So I didn't get any like that many physical things haven't come in yet this year. I have some stuff coming, but I think with everything going on, everything got delayed a little bit. But
Mhm.
I backed a couple vinyl things and books with vinyls. So I don't
So
know.
books you're never getting.
Sure, I'm sure you'll see those in 2024.
Yeah, I have an issue with books with vinyls right now. I have like because of
Yeah,
my
I know
fucking
about your what's the furthest place for me?
yes. I fucking backed the vinyl and didn't back the regular issue. So well, I guess I'm waiting for the trade for that
Yeah.
fucking book. Anyway. That's neither here nor there. That's a whole nother episode. But yeah, man, like I really cut back this year on Kickstarters, like
Yeah.
mainly digital, and I've been getting so behind on my reading. But uh, what did I get that off the top of my head? Uh, what did I get? I got a few digitals in, and I read them, and I can't remember exactly what it was. But like I read Trakovi because Adrian sent us advanced copies, and
Right.
I really love that, and I didn't even get anything yet from him, so I can't wait. That I have actually backed the physical tier, so I can't wait to get my books there. But I
Yeah,
love
so
that
good.
story.
Yeah.
That was a story I really dug. What else? There was. Well, that's the only one that comes to mind right now. But
There's a lot of good stuff out this year. It's hard to pinpoint anything.
yeah, but
And
that's
like you
one that's
mentioned, with all the digital
recently.
purchases, I think that was
Yeah,
wise just to get them.
yeah, yeah. I got them. I have a few that I haven't read, but
Mhm.
yeah.
And Johnny, he's like the OG. Like anytime he posts something, I click it. I'm like, oh, this sounds cool. Back. Like Life, the B one, not Foul Brood, which I did also back the Christopher Sabella one, but the what is it?
That street has
LIF.
one out, eh? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks so good because Hassan is on lettering, and I'll buy anything Hassan letters.
Yeah, his work is nice.
But no, it's called Life, LIF, and Johnny backed it, and then I saw him back it, and I clicked on it, and I was like, that looks cool, and I backed it.
Well, and those guys know how to do a catch-up bundle. I mean, like they offer like I got the issue, and then I get like everything because I guess they've done like about 7 other little books, and
Mhm.
you get all of that in PDF form with this. So like they literally give you their entire catalog so far, and it was such a
Yeah.
nice cheap tier too. Because
And for
I think
$5, they'll draw a character of your choice, and they sent out a survey like a couple days ago, and they were like, "Oh, what character do you want us to draw?" And I was like,
Elle picked
"Shrek."
herself.
I said
Oh,
Shrek.
Shrek.
that'd be
So
fun.
I'm so looking forward to my Shrek drawing.
Shrek is love. Shrek is life.
Shrek is
His
life.
life.
Johnny,
Yes.
shut the fuck up, dude. You're number one now, Johnny. I didn't know anybody else knew that video.
Oh, I don't see how anybody couldn't. It's a masterpiece.
It's up
Matt,
here in Canada.
Matt,
I know it.
stop it. You're
I
number
do.
2 now. You guys are like top tier. Nobody gets my jokes.
I have
Shrek
watched.
is love. Man.
I
Shrek
have
is life.
I have watched the Shrek franchise more than I can even count with my
Whenever I
son.
see Shrek
It's
playing, I feel
oh
like it's a good omen, right? So when I
yeah.
first moved to Washington, I went to like a Korean barbecue spot and Shrek was playing. And I said, okay, we're going to have a good time.
That's the thing. The problem is you can't not have a good time with Shrek.
No.
No.
And Shrek he's love and he's life. So you can't.
He's the Barney the dinosaur of the current age.
Shrek is so good. When my daughter, so my oldest is 10, but like the very first DVD she ever picked out at like Best Buy was like the Shrek trilogy. And I said, "Oh my God, you're my child."
My son gets into this thing where he'll repeat movies. The movie will end, and he'll just hit replay.
Yeah.
And he'll do that 3, 4, 5 times until he passes out. So the number of times that I've heard is, I'd love to sing All Star for you guys right now, but it would just turn all the fans away here. 0 views.
Yep, there's a concept. Hey, but we could all use a little change, right?
Little Pink Buzz karaoke.
So this is my swamp.
Get out of my swamp, donkey! I'm making waffles.
Man, now you can't back
That's
up.
a
You
nice
have to back
folder.
all of Matt's projects because we know he's a Shrek head.
Shrek head.
There's some weird Shrek videos floating around the net.
And those are my favorite. Those are my favorite.
I will start forwarding them your way. Maybe we have different
Thank you.
contents up here.
Listen, I love it.
Just flying out the window with the dad not understanding what he saw.
Yeah.
Oops. Anybody that doesn't understand that reference, that's all you're getting out of me. But if you don't know it, you're missing out. And just Google Shrek is love, Shrek is life, and hopefully you'll still be able to find it. I used to see it on Facebook all the time.
It's on YouTube. It has to be because I know I watch. It's like a Christmas watch for me. You know, it's like the holiday mood.
Yeah. Watch the snowman, cry a little bit. Watch Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Bring yourself back up.
It'll bring you back up in more than one way. From what I remember.
My top 3 Kickstarters this year, I'd have to go with Bam and Glam by Richard Morgan. It's just hand painted. Insanity. I love the cardstock covers, the whole production. I love that Bill Sinkovic style that he's got going on in it.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wanted to say Scissorinski. That's a completely different Polish guy, but that's besides the point. I don't know what my other one is, but like I'm gonna just jump to number one and go with my boy Aaron Reese. I am just so impressed by what he's been able to pull off with Black Blizzard so far.
Hmm.
How fast he puts his content out, and just how darn good it is for a guy who's like legit doing his first comic book ever. I know a lot of my buddies are doing their first comic books ever, but there's just something that shines about Black Blizzard, and just how fast he gets it to me that really makes me appreciate his campaigns above most others this year so far.
Nice, nice. Yeah, there's been a lot of great stuff this year. I think I want to almost credit it to the pandemic because a lot of people have been home.
Oh, I think
They've been working
absolutely
on their
because
craft.
I'm not like I would not have found most of these projects unless I had a lot of extra free time. You know
Well,
what
a
I
lot
mean?
of it's so
Hmm.
much more interesting than even what you'll get from the indie labels now.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know that Scout and them watch Kickstarter really closely because, well, I mean, like, White Ash and North Bend and all those books basically came off of Kickstarter to begin with.
Hmm.
But the thing is these kids that are doing their comics for the first time, they're actually legitimately producing things that are exciting and
Hmm.
explosive and
Hmm.
creating new ideas. And not all of them have to be kids because Adrian's older than I am. But like, I'd never seen a comic book that started the way Trakovi did, and it blew me away.
No,
I've
that
never
was
seen a book that started
fantastic.
with a guy legit torching a bus full of kids.
Right.
And like, I was captivated after that. I'm like, I want to see where the hell this goes,
Right.
dude.
It sounds like it
And
needs a
yeah.
Breaking Bad freaking show of sorts.
And Matt Rowe being older than me by 15 years. It's so
Oh, way to
crazy.
make the guy feel good about himself there, Taco Bell.
How
I'm 32, so I was trying to make myself feel better. So thank you,
I
Johnny.
was like, are you nine?
Matt, you fogey, you old
Matt, you old guy.
All these
Matt.
kids at Matt Rowe.
You,
not,
you, you, you,
not
Yeah.
Matt teaching me how to use Kickstarter because I don't know how to open the app. Is it an app?
Oh my
you
god.
veritable Methuselah, you.
So
Because Matt
so
did say these young guys on the when we first got on, Matt said these young guys making comics, and I'm thinking, oh, he's like, our age or something. And then he said, I'm 25. I said, shut the fuck up.
shut the fuck up. Get out of here. Just, just wait till I tell you that I have a 9-year-old.
Wait, you have a 9-year-old?
Yeah.
Matt, my oldest is 10, and I thought I was a teen
I heard
mom, and I
that.
was 22.
Yep.
Wait, hold on.
Jeez.
Let me do the math in my head. 9
You
years
don't want to do the
old.
math.
20. Oh no, that's respectable. And you know what?
That's respectable.
It is respectable because for you to even, it takes a lot to do that. So
It's been a lot.
kudos to you
And shout out to my girlfriend who I know is watching.
yeah,
Yeah.
shout out to teen moms everywhere.
Yeah.
It takes a lot. And shout out to teen dads who stick around. Cuz 16, that's a lot. That's a lot. And you're still doing what you want to do. That's
It's been a good run.
respectable.
To do
I
any
love
all
that.
age stuff for your boy?
No,
I would love
fuck them
to, but to
kids.
be honest, he's 9. He's 9 now, and he's kind of coming to that age where he doesn't want all ages. He wants
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto. He wants the
Yes.
eternal dieback.
My 10-year-old is like
Yep.
she hates it that my 5-year-old loves Grand Theft Auto. My 5-year-old is like, I want to play GTA 5. And I'm like, I'll put on San Andreas. And then he's like, my homies want me to play.
The things I hear him shouting on Fortnite are ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Just ridiculous. That's where I'm gonna leave that.
Yeah.
Walk by
I
a
love
store.
that.
What?
But my 10-year-old, she's like obsessed with Roblox. She loves comic books,
Yes.
but she's more into like branded stories at this point. So but like indies I haven't gotten her into, but she does like R.L. Stein, like the graphic novels he's been
Yeah.
coming out with and stuff. But I think it's so cool and I've never forced her into comics, which is such a big deal to me. So I've always been like, if she wants to, she'll want to. Because my husband, he doesn't collect comics, but he reads them, but he's not super into them.
Mhm.
But my daughter, she's just like, oh, I'll read the graphic novel, and so I'll get her graphic novels. She loves the R.L. Stein stuff. She loves like that Fortnite crossover with Batman. She
Yeah,
loved that stuff, so it's really cool.
yeah, a lot of fun
They
stuff
did a
out there for
Batman
sure.
fork knife comic. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah,
but we're gonna
Yeah.
force
yeah.
them to read Nightmare Man because there's no choices in this house. I got you, Matt.
There's no choices. I like that.
You're gonna be afraid to fall asleep.
Or no, when when you came in here, just pre-show everybody, pre-show a little behind the scenes here.
Sure.
We, I think Joe asked about Elle and like how she's doing. Her kids aren't bothering her or anything. She's like, no, like I clock out at 9 o'clock. Get out of
I
here.
do. Listen, my husband works from home. He's in the video game industry.
Hmm.
When he clocks out at 6 o'clock, I clock out. that's, that's my clock out time. I'm out. I'm not a mom anymore.
Well, you guys can raise yourselves now. Eh?
You're hungry? Ask your dad. I don't know about food.
I got my Taco Bell and my Chardonnay. Fuck
Right.
off.
Do y'all want some Taco Bell and Chardonnay? Because I can provide that.
Yeah. Oh, man. I feel like we should
That's
focus
what I'm
back
gonna
in
be
on
known on from now
Kickstarter
on.
here.
Huh?
Yeah, that is it.
On that note,
Well, you got any Kickstarter tips for people that might be listening that might be wanting to kind of start a campaign of their own, maybe?
Yeah, especially if it's comics, man. You're just probably gonna want to put the writing down, put the drawing down, and probably go get a job. That no, I'm just kidding.
Abandon it.
Yeah, just abandon
Your
it.
dreams.
Just you know, you can get. I think you can still get matchbooks for like 50 cents or $1 at your convenience store. Just go ahead, light it up. No. Pro tips though, I would start promoting your work, specifically the work that you're going to be putting on Kickstarter, as soon as possible. It was briefly mentioned earlier in this show about webtoons, and one of the biggest comic sector right now is webtoons comics that are going to Kickstarter, and they are doing phenomenally well. So all of those artists and writers that have this stick up their ass about not wanting to show too much work, go ahead and show it. Show as
And
much
being
work as
made
possible.
into TV shows because Hellbound
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Netflix was originally a webtoon.
I
Oh, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big one right now. It's got such pretty art. It's like pink and all these vibrant
Aaron
colors.
Crow has one. The guy who does It Eats What Feeds You. That creative team, they have one, and it's so good. I can't remember the name of it, but there are quality things on Webtoon that don't feel like cheap anime or cheap manga-ish things. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't have to stick to Webtoon. Hell, you can post your comic daily, weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you want to do. On Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, whatever platform you're using to grow your following, and that's the thing. You're gonna want to grow a following, and I hate the term following because, to be honest, I've always just felt like I'm building a community here. I want to make friends. I want to make as many friends as I can, and I want to make cool shit, and I want my friends to check out my cool shit, and that's that. So be consistent, as consistent as possible. Grow your email newsletter. If you're really just starting comics, start small. Do a 6-page or do something like that. These are all tips that you're going to find reoccurring around the internet here. I would suggest that you try to do a Kickstarter if you're an artist. Try to do one with a writer because they bring a lot of value to the table. But writers, listen to me. You need to be also promoting with your artist. Like while your artist is drawing the book, you need to be out there promoting. You need to be shooting emails around, trying to do interviews like this, what I'm doing right now, and just kind of get it out there, you know. As far
That's
as
all right.
Kickstarter,
If I like what you're doing, I'll stalk you and make you be on my show anyways. Ask Richard Morgan. So
it's true. These guys hunted me down, and they said, you know, they gave me an or else, and I'm not even going to tell you guys what the or else was. As far as Kickstarter goes, be realistic and do your math. Really dig into what you're going to need to charge for printing and shipping and packaging and all that. I went right down to the T with it, and I know exactly how much each product is going to weigh, and exactly how much each product is going to weigh when it's packaged in my packaging, and how much that shipping is going to be, and just everything. So promotion, do your homework, be genuine, and be grateful. Because you couldn't do this without the community, the readers, the backers, the fans. Yeah.
Well, and that's my
Excellent.
favorite thing about the whole Kickstarter is that there is a community there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people that are like me that have the Super Backer badge, and we're always there, in the comments of people's updates, or in their
Mm-hmm.
comment section, telling them like, oh my god, you funded and stuff like that, and it just
Yep.
feels good. It really feels like you're helping make it. I
Yep.
know that a lot of the times you only get about $15 from my cheap ass, but hey, I got to spread the love as much as I can. I'm a working
And
man,
you know what,
but
Johnny? I hate that you said that, because I got a ridiculous amount of messages and comments saying, "Hey, like I can only spend this much." No, if you can only spend $1, if all you can do is retweet the project, that that's a lot right there. Like, thank you for taking the time and looking at it. You know, that's it.
Mm.
Don't apologize for what you can do. Absolutely not. Yeah,
But yeah, the community is beautiful on Kickstarter, and I think that that's one of the
yeah,
strongest things it has going for it. And I really think
yep.
that if you want to try to get involved in it, it's a good place to kind of come up, because I know a lot of people who have Kickstarter buddies, like our buddy Adrian. I forget the name of the fellow that does the book that he's best friends with, Tights, but like the two of them, like they've kind of got this whole like little power duo that they share
Hmm.
information, and they bounce things back and forth that they learn from other people that they've met on Kickstarter, and you kind of learn how to make comics without actually having to, play the stupid corporate game like you would
Yep.
in
Yep.
boardrooms and
Th-
doing elevator pitches at
that
Image. You know what I
that's
mean?
another thing. Just ask creators. Just ask them. Um, I spent a lot of years just trying to find the information myself, and it's
Hmm.
difficult. Not only was the internet different 5 years ago, but it's hard to find information sometimes. So just ask the questions. It's as simple as that, and a lot of the time it's going to be a lot faster for you.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that comics take a lot of time, so just the faster, the more efficient that you can get at making the project and publishing the project and getting it out there, the better you'll be. So, yeah. But like Johnny said,
I'm
it's
into
it's all
that.
about community. So definitely don't skimp on that.
But I think that this is a good place to button it up. We got almost 2 hours out of you, and we had a really, really rocking conversation with a lot of really good information for anybody that's looking for, anything Kickstarter related. So, with that, do you want to go ahead and plug all your stuff again, Matt?
Yeah, thank you. You can find my work at Matt Rowe Art on everything. You can check out more stuff at mattroweart.com. Be sure to follow my newsletter there and get monthly updates from me and all things the Eternal Dieback going forward and all my other projects.
Do you have any kind of estimate for when we could maybe expect a campaign for issue two later
Issue
this
two, yeah,
in 2022?
yeah, issue two will come out in 2022. I don't want to make any promises about issue three, but I'm going to be better, I guess. Efficiency, right? You learn. This was my first one at the door by myself, and then like I'd mentioned, Wilding and I are going to be doing some pirate stories called Freehand. So that'll be coming out in 2022. Again, you can find more news on that in my newsletter. So there's going to be a lot of fun stuff coming.
And you said you're going to be dropping some
Right
news
on.
about Nightmare Man too.
Yes, some Nightmare Man news as well.
So you're going to
A
be
lot of
pretty
big.
busy for 2022.
It's going to
It's
be
going
a
to be a
good year. We have a
it's going to
lot
be a
lined
big
up.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a big year for us too, wallet wise. Back in.
I appreciate it nonetheless.
Or more the
Oh,
less, because
More
we
something there.
will be. I want to know what happens.
it's gonna be good. I promise.
Hey,
Thank
Taco
you
Bell and box
for.
wine. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
What's up?
No, I was just gonna say thanks for having me. It's been a great time.
Oh, always, man. You're
Pleasure.
welcome here whenever you want, man.
Yeah.
Whenever
Yeah.
you
No
got like a
disrespect while
campaign you
they
want to.
disrespect me with the box wine and Taco Bell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's wait till like the third episode I'm in here. Then they'll be calling me out for my maple syrup and Crown Royal. And
Is that what you mix your crown with? I was
God, no.
curious.
I'd have so much caffeine. No, it's just a little bit of ice, a little bit of Coke, something to
Okay.
make sure that I don't get like really,
You know
really
what?
crazy. Right?
Samesies. I've been
Yeah.
on rum and coke this time. So I mean
Nice.
it's almost like Crown, right?
What kind of rum do you drink?
Well, I'm cheap today, so Bacardi Black. But
Oh no,
typically
that's good.
like
I like it.
what's his name? Sailor Jerry's
Sailor
or
Jerry's. Yeah.
Kraken, yeah.
You ever try Appleton?
I haven't, but I
I
have tried like
try that.
Mount Gay rum is one of my
Mm.
favorites when I'm feeling bougie.
Yeah, that's Johnny's favorite too.
Johnny John's.
What what would it take to get you to wear a Canadian tuxedo next time you come on? Like we could get Joe to wear one too, like a
I
Matt
jean
or
just
me?
jacket.
What is a Canadian tuxedo? Please elaborate.
It's
it's
a jean jacket and a
jean
jean shirt.
jacket. Yeah, I would just have to go through my dad's closet. That's all. Actually, you know what? I could go through Joe's closet.
Oh, twins.
I just have one. I just have my gas pump shirt sleeves. So yeah,
No, this has been great.
yeah, it was a pleasure having you on, man.
Thanks, guys.
Had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
But Taco Bell and box wine, you got anything you want to announce for House of Nerds? Don't you guys got some really cool guests popping on Sunday?
Actually on Sunday we don't. It's just a straight up trash bucket hot dumpster fire me and Sergio episode. So if you
I'll be
want to
watching.
hear us bicker, I mean, come on, but we do have some really cool people coming up, and we do have some cameos popping on this episode, but it is pretty much just a Black Friday weekend special dumpster fire this Sunday. Yeah.
Cool.
Sometimes they turn out to be the best ones.
Joe, I'm sure you know it is gonna be probably the best episode we've ever made. free reign to talk shit about a fellow Canadian. I mean, not a fellow because I'm not Canadian. Well,
Oh man, I want to see Serge in a. I want to see
says
Serge
I
in a
am.
Canadian tuxedo really bad now too, because he totally wouldn't fit in one. He's got that whole sports guy thing. So
Oh
yeah, to
my
see him
gosh.
all.
I will
I wa-
ask
Jean-
him to put one on, and he
I
probably
wa-
already has one ironed and ready to go.
I watched the Pink Buzz 25th anniversary episode you guys just
Yeah.
did, and I think for the 50th, we all need to come back, and you need to have everybody else that's on because I got to meet those guys, and we need to all be in the Canadian tuxedos. No.
In spirit.
Make a
for
note.
sure.
Noted. There, I'll jot it down so we don't forget.
Yes.
Yeah.
the big
That's
with your
5-0.
With your Canadian
There.
pen.
Noted. Noted.
Uh,
But like I said, next Friday it's going to be an earlier episode. We're going to be on at 2 p.m.
2.
Eastern time.
Okay.
We're going to have EPHK live from Berlin on to talk about Mart Vallis, his really kind of wild, kinky art on Instagram, and whatever else his fun European self comes up with. Yeah, I'm really excited to talk to the character. He is a very interesting person, so it's going to be an explosive episode. So catch us then. But until next time, this is Pink Buzz, a product of graphic vandalism. That means don't stop reading, don't stop watching awesome movies, and don't stop supporting excellent music. Take it sleazy, y'all.